Okay, in this video we will try to find the greatest number from given three numbers. Let's start with creating one file. Let's name it greatest number. As usual, start it with hash include stdio.h. Should I zoom it a little? Yeah. Now we'll say int main to find the greatest number. First we'll need to scan these numbers from input device, that is keyboard. To scan we'll also need to store it, and to store what we need to do is create a variable int number 1, int number 2, and int number 3. Now prompt on the screen, you need the number, enter number 1. Now scan the number, %d because we want integer, and number 1. Why did we use AND here? Because scanf expects the address to be passed as the second parameter, and ampersand denotes the address of the variable. I'll just say this to when you copy and paste, make sure that you do the necessary corrections. Okay, and now I'm prompting 3 times and scanning the 3 numbers. What you need to do now is apply the logic on the input. How will you apply the logic? Our logic will be a little basic. What we will do is we will consider one number as the greatest, and then we will keep on comparing that number with the others. So to consider one number as greatest, I'll just declare one more variable and we'll call it greatest. I'll consider greatest equals to number 1. Okay, then I'll check whether any other number like number 2 is greater than the greatest. So number 2 is greater than greatest. If it is, then what you do is you consider number 2 as greatest, number 2. So what I did is I just assigned number 2 to greatest. I'll just copy this, paste it again, maintain the formatting, then I'll just replace this with 3 and this 3. You don't need to copy always. What you can do is you can still keep typing, because that is the only good approach. I keep on copy pasting just to save the time, otherwise video will be too much lengthy. Now we have performed some operation. Did we do the correct thing? We just stored number 1 to greatest, then we checked whether number 2 is greater than the greatest, that is the number 1. Then we store it as a greatest. Then number 3 we again checked whether it is greater than greatest. If it is, then it is number 3. And then finally printf the greatest number is %d. While printing the variable by using %d, you don't need to add ampersand. Okay, I keep making the spelling mistakes. Yep. So for greatest, here we did not use ampersand, but while scanning we did use the ampersand, because here we have variable value directly accessible with us. Then finally return something 0. If you return 0, it means your program has run successfully. It doesn't have any error. So that is what compiler tells, or your application tells it to your operating system. Let's run it. Enter number 100. Let's add it in reverse sequence. And 10. Out of all these, which one is the greatest? The first number, that is 100. Yep. So what is it saying? That greatest number is 100. We can do the same thing with other statement or an operator, that is conditional operator or ternary operator. Instead of using if statement, we can use ternary operator here. The first statement remains same. How do you form ternary operator? I'll just copy this whole. Yeah, I do copy paste so much. I shouldn't. Then after this expression, I'll put the question mark. So this is our expression: is number 2 greater than greatest? It's a question you are asking to compiler, and then you give the answer. Okay, if it is greatest, then return what? Number 2. And then you put another option if it is false. If number 2 is not greater than the greatest, then return greatest. And whatever this statement returns from these two, you need to store it to greatest again. Then you again do the same thing for number 3. Okay, so I'll just comment this for a while. And I'll have this logic active for us. Let's try to run whether it gives the correct output. Okay, let's input the same number sequence. Yep, it says the greatest number is 100. Output is still the same, only the approach has been changed little. Not even the approach, it is just we have used alternative operator or a statement. What is the difference between these two? Conditional operator or ternary operator you can use when you have one expression to test and then you want to assign some value to some variable when it is true and when it is false also. Using if statement is not bad, definitely, but it becomes little bit lengthy. This statement you can use it as a shortcut. This statement, if statement, you can use in more extensive way when you have some expression and then you have more things to do other than just setting some value to some variable. Here if we are just setting one value to the other variable, you don't really need to use if statement. You can directly go for ternary operator. Definitely, if you want 50 numbers to be tested, and if you want to find the greatest number from those 50 or 100 or let's say 1000, we are not going to create those many variables. We will not repeat or copy this statement, the set of statements 50 times or 1000 times. Neither we will use this conditional operator or the if statement multiple times, those many times. What we'll need to do is we'll need to have some optimized way. We'll need to take some array. In that array we'll need to input the numbers, and then we'll need to iterate that array through some loop, maybe for loop or whichever. But that technique we will definitely see when we will be visiting arrays. Till then, goodbye and take care. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, then please subscribe the channel. Take care.